It's Collette from the Sacred Rose Temple, and I am here to talk about something that's really coming forward today in this new age of Aquarian. And I think we're all feeling this massive shift, and it's bringing in the new. Of course, it is, but there's many other things that are floating around the collective at the moment. And my energy report, I try to keep it short so that people are engaged and interested. But there's millions of things I want to say, so this is kind of feed off from that. I have been had a crazy day today, quite a magical day in which there are many things that have come into synchronicity and alignment. As I shared a post today about, the Aquarian energy and what that means for us as people, particularly women, what does that mean for us as women? And this is particularly significant, this energy, because it's a constellation that has and is associated with the water bearer. And the water bearer in this age of Aquarius is really important because it's symbolic on many reasons. There's so much that I can't share in this call, but one that I do want to focus on is the Grail or the chalice, and how that the water bearer is pouring forth the waters of life that cleanse, nourish, and awaken the soul. And that's key because this symbol also aligns with the themes of renewal, unity, and the rebirth of the divine feminine wisdom. I am ready to embark on a course on the 5th of December with the Shift Network for the graduates of my previous course that's called the Grail Quest. And this came through very deeply, this Grail Quest, because I felt there were women that really needed to embark on a Grail Quest and to kind of really refocus laser tight their direction in life and where they're going next. And in Celtic times, there were Grail maidens. They were the priestesses of the sacred wells and waters, and they embodied the roles of guardian of the land and also spirituality and awakening. They were the sacred womb. They knew about the sacred life cycles, and they knew that their womb was a deep chalice of spiritual potential, and that the spiritual potential within their wombs really would change humanity. It would nourish humanity. It would bring it into a new consciousness, and it would bring it into a new age. And that's what we're seeing right now in the age of Aquarium. So this has come up that's really important for me to share. And I've been seeing this massively flagged up and highlighted for me. Like the divine said, come on, Collette, there's this happening, share about it. And that's the underselling of spirituality and practices that bring people into deep connection with themselves and healing. So my own self, I not only work online in, the courses that I do online for the Shift Network, but my own online courses and my teachings, and I do yoga within the local community. And something happened where I have kind of undersold myself on many occasions, many occasions. And the work that I do, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I'm a teacher by nature. I was a school teacher, so teacher is my fundamental archetype. And what I tend to have done in the past is undersold myself. The teaching that we do comes at great costs. We have to pull out of the mainstream, which I did out of a really well paid job as an educational consultant, in order to take the risk that we're going to work in a realm that's really going to help people. And then usually what you do, you've got a load of overheads and a load of costs, and you've got time in the day where you've got to write and you've got a plan, and you spend in like today. It's now 6:30. I've been working since 6 this morning. It's not easy. It asks more of our time and it asks more of our resources. And I find myself sometimes doing things that actually value me less than I've ever been valued. And I think spirituality, this has happened to spirituality. I seen today a post about a yoga teacher saying I'm paid £10 an hour. I'm expected to turn up for 2 hours, and then there's tax on that, and then I use oils and my equipment. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what I've been seeing. This really important service. And I think that's where the collective are. They don't see it as important, are unwilling to know the value of that service. And also are the people that are engaging in this don't know the value of it. They don't know what it brings. They don't know what transformation it brings. And there's always this wrangle in between like the mundane and the spiritual, always. So, like somebody will do like a one-to-one session and it costs XYZ, but someone will go for a facial that costs double the amount, not complain, do it, all superficial, all on the external. And then when someone asks for half of that for the same hour, or even maybe less, there's an outrage. So I'm really seeing this at the moment massively. Like it's been all over my social media. I've been seeing people say, well, I'm doing this for £5 an hour. And I'm like, whoa, like I remember my Jungian analysis saying to me, can you really put a time price on your hour? Like, what are you worth, Collette? An hourly rate. And that's really sad, isn't it? Because if I'm feeling my value, I will put that at a higher cost. And if I'm feeling unworthy and undervalued, I will lower that all the way down. And as we come into the age of Aquarian, where we're seeing that spiritual practices, the trauma healing, the knowing yourself, the archetypes, all of that become really, really, truly important, yet they're undervalued. I see people selling a whole package of stuff for less than you could buy a cup of coffee. And I just think that poor person has spent hours crafting, planning, designing, recording, sharing, and they've so undervalued themselves. How could anybody find value in their work when they don't find value in themselves? And we're all doing this. We're all doing this on some kind of level. We're slaves to our bosses. We're slaves to a system. We're currently in a system where the things that are superficial and actually detrimental to our health and our life are placed at a higher value than those very things that could change us, transform us, heal us, make us feel better, engage us with life at a deeper level. And so I really needed to speak to this. I feel that the symbol of the feminine and the water bearer, like, and what she carries, what she holds, the power of her medicine, what she's teaching, how it transforms, has to have value. It has to. We don't live in a free society. Nothing is free. Nothing. Maybe in a nirvanic ideology of life in the future that I could teach and help and do all of that for free. I would love that. But that would actually mean that my rent was free and that my engagement with life was free. But we're not there. And what I always feel is when something's cheap, it generally is cheap. The energy, the consistency, the giving to it, the investment in it. And so if I put myself as high value and I charge a good price, a right price, then I have to hold myself accountable that what I do is value for money, that I put in the effort and I put in the time and I put in the devotion and that I genuinely care and want transformation and hope what I does makes a difference. So you see, when something's cheap, and we all buy into this, don't we? Because we all have that little cheap wound, then really what it is cheap. And usually that person is selling themselves out because they don't value themselves. And then you want to take advantage of that, or actually you don't value yourself enough to also ask for more and then give more. This is going to be very prevalent in the next year or so as we begin to see that the value of what hasn't been working and all the dark structures that everybody is invested in and giving money to fall. And those people that have been humbly working for the greater good of humanity have been so underpaid, so underappreciated, so undervalued because actually they don't value themselves. Will take a great shift. And I definitely want to be the voice that shares this at the moment, that you are worth it, that you are valued more than an hourly rate. And if you were to value yourself at an hourly rate, what would that be? So I said this to a client the other day. I teach yoga in the local community, that class that I charge €13 out for, I have rent to pay. I have a license to pay, a music license to pay. I share oils that get depleted every month. I use petrol to get to the studio. I then pay tax on top of what I earn. I am teaching for a very insignificant amount of money per hour. And they would sooner pay somebody an hour to make their face look pretty, or would they sooner pay in the hour for, you know, some massive conglomerate global billionaire company such as like Starbucks, for example, for the same price for a coffee? It really is time that we questioned all of this and the value that we value people at, and our own selves, of course. So, what are you valued at? What are you working for? Are you meeting yourself as valuable? Are you underpricing a product, a service, something that's high quality, really low? And in that, it will begin to lessen the quality of it and the value of it. Are you doing a disservice to spirituality and the sacred teachings of things like yoga that have been high value? I've taken you so much to qualify and learn from and then invest in and plan for literally nothing. It's super sad, but it's the truth. And as we move forward, we all need to question our value and how we value ourselves. And if it's cheap, notice that pull to cheap. Notice the part of us that is in lack as we follow the water bearer and realize that the water bearer is abundant and that the water vessel which she pours from never, ever ends. So take care, be abundant, be of high value, know what carries value and what doesn't. Bye for now.